Of course, one of the things that was focused on so much at the time was the former Royal Marine Pen Farthing and his campaign to evacuate not just himself and fellow workers at his animal shelter in Afghanistan, but also, of course, some 150 dogs and cats. Well, in the end, eventually he was able to get the dogs and cats out on a commercial flight that had been hired for his behalf, but he had to leave behind 68 Afghan staff and family members. Well, those staff have now been flown out of Kabul. They're now in Pakistan in the care of the British High Commission, and Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab said they will be brought to the UK in the coming days. Let's talk to Dominic Dyer. He's part of the Operation Ark campaign and an animal welfare campaigner. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Julia.
Well, I think this is a fantastic news. You will probably know I was something of a critic, or rather big critic of this. I genuinely love dogs. Cats not so much, would rather they were alive and healthy and well. But I've got to be honest with you, I would exchange 150 dogs and cats for one Afghan child getting out safely who otherwise didn't. How did you manage to get them all out in the end, the Afghan staff and their family members?
Well, I think just to sort of say to begin with, this was always a humanitarian mission. The dogs were to come in the hold with the cats. This was about the people. It was about the vets and vet nurses and their dependents. And we worked really hard with government to campaign to get them out. And I'm so happy. I can't talk to you about all the details of how they got to the Pakistan border. Obviously, there's security issues. There are many other people that will be seeking to do the same thing. And we want to make sure they can do that safely. What I would say to begin with, though, is thank you so much to the Foreign Secretary, Dominic Raab. I paid credit to him last night, and his staff team in the British High Commission in Islamabad, who worked very hard with the Pakistan Foreign Ministry just to ensure that all the paperwork was right and we could safely access the country of Pakistan from Afghanistan. And they are now in the care of the Foreign Office. And yes, they will be in Britain in a few days' time. And that will bring an end to Operation Ark, which I think has been one of the huge interest stories of this terrible ending to our time in Afghanistan. And I think a wonderful story of care and compassion for both people and animals. So Penn, his animals, and all these people will be in Britain in a matter of days. And I think that's a wonderful story.
I think overall, I think it's worked out very well. But of course, we know Pen Farthing refused to leave on the first opportunity he had to get out of the country because he was told you can't take your animals or your Afghan workers. He said he wouldn't leave either behind. Then he was told you can get the animals through, but you'll have to leave your Afghan staff behind. And they'd been given leave to come to Britain, hadn't they? They'd been given the right paperwork, but the Taliban soldiers wouldn't let them through. That was the issue, wasn't it?
That's right, yes. And to be quite frank, this whole operation got a lot of support from the Prime Minister, Foreign Secretary, Home Secretary, DEFRA. We had problems with the Ministry of Defence. I can't speak for Mr. Wallace. I've had my rows with him in media studios over the last few weeks. But I think the sad issue around that is that it delayed getting the people into the airport. And by the time Penn tried to get them in, the Americans had changed the visa rules. And the Taliban officials at the gate basically said, listen, we're not going to let these people through. And he had a terrible decision to make. And he went back with them that night through what had been a terrible scenes with that suicide bombing that killed so many people and terrified all his staff team. I think at that point, there was a view that maybe we could never get them out. But this man never gives up. He's one of the most courageous, committed individuals I've ever met, which is why people like me have worked so hard over the last 3 weeks and with little sleep to support him. You are led by someone that inspires you, and he inspired me. I think his courage and determination to get people and animals out of that country had actually lifted the mood in this country. Millions of people supporting Operation Ark, because I think they were all so sad to see what was happening in Afghanistan. And this was a good story, and it's finally come to an end in a way that we all wanted to see.
I'm delighted. I'm very, very, very happy those people. I'm perfectly happy the animals have got out. Even the hold, I just didn't think that should be any of the focus of what should happen. I really disagree with the ethics on that. But I would certainly be intrigued to talk to you behind the scenes to get some help on routes out of Afghanistan, because we've seen what's been happening, and it's already absolutely horrific for the people who are stuck there, and particularly those who we know the Taliban know or have helped British forces and worked in the government and the like. So there are many, many, many thousands more who we need to help to safety. So I would certainly appreciate your help on that. Dominic Dyer, a member of the Operation Ark campaign, thank you for joining us. I really appreciate that. 9:55 is the time. Mike Graham is